This is Sandcast, beach volleyball with Tri-Born and Travis Mawerder, and today, Corinne Quiggle. We are presented, as always, written on volleyballmag.com. Video is on P1440. We're going to give Wilson the shout-out for the sponsor of the day, and Nicolette Martin also getting some love.
Yep.
She's decorating a lot of balls. Do you have a Nicolette Martin?
I don't, but I should get one. They're gorgeous.
She's like making a little side hustle out of it.
Mm-hmm. She's talented.
It's crazy. I don't know how she draws that good on volleyball.
I can't draw that good on anything, really.
I'm limited to stick figures.
Yes.
Yeah. But how are you doing? You're kind of in a tweener phase because you and Amanda Dowdy, your new partner, you had a little Asia trip, and you also played with Cassie House, and then you had a little break, and now you guys are about to be travel buddies to Mexico.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been really fun. I mean, getting back and recovering from our Asia trip, and then we've been able to get back and get some really good training in these past few weeks to prepare for our next 2 weeks to Mexico, and then we're home for 3 days and then back to Malaysia.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you've been doing a lot of traveling early.
Yes.
Was that the plan coming into it? Is that did you set a goal that this year you were going to try to do as much international stuff as you could?
Yeah, so it's always been my goal and dream to go internationally and shoot for the Olympics. So this first year, it's been really amazing having Amanda kind of lead us in that. And I really had no former idea of how to get on to the FIVB and USA and all that. And so this is my first year really playing FIVBs. I've played in a few NORCECAs before, but it's been my goal for as long as I've been in beach volleyball. So really just taking it a really good start on it. And I have to grow points right now. So that's why we're kicking it out as early as we can. With all the 4 stars coming up, I got to get a lot more points. I was starting at almost 0, just so that we have a chance to get into those bigger tournaments.
Yeah.
Were you surprised to find out that that's how you do it in beach volleyball? Is you just start from 0 and start grinding?
I really was. I mean, I knew that NORCECAs might give me a little bit, but really it was amazing to figure, you just sign up. And that was it. Yeah. And it was actually a lot easier, but hard to find when you have no idea what you were looking for. But it's been great having people kind of mentor. We have Megan Bergdorf also on as our team, who's worked for USA. So she's been phenomenal getting us the information on how to do everything.
She definitely knows the ins and outs. She's
been our saving grace.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you're also working out at USA Volleyball now, right?
Yes.
I know it's me and Travis were talking about it earlier. It's kind of a complicated system in terms of who they let in there. You're either in the rankings or they think you have a lot of potential. So
yes,
they obviously think that. I mean, how many points do you have right now? Are you?
I have almost 400, I think.
So that's a decent amount.
I don't know if that's a lot on the international circuit because AVP
it's
that's
a decent
okay.
Amount. But the fact that you're in there this early on and trying to play internationals is a good sign.
Yeah,
and it helps, of course.
Yeah,
I don't know what resources you're using yet, but no,
it was nice because Amanda has had that connection before, and so partnering up with Amanda, and we went in there and expressed our goals to Sean and Tyler, and they kind of just let us develop, and they're yeah, we'd love to have you come in and work with us. And it's been great working with Christian and Chris. I mean, I can feel myself getting stronger. When I left for Cambodia, I was I feel strong, I feel good. It's hard doing it on your own.
Totally.
But so being in the gym is just a huge, huge help.
Yeah. Have you had a personal trainer before?
I
have.
You
had a weight coach in college, probably.
At Pepperdine, I had a great coach, Matt Young. He's phenomenal.
I just
love
met
him.
Matt the other day at Zuma.
Yeah.
And he's just a big dude.
Oh, yeah. He's great. We can beat him in volleyball very easily. His arms don't necessarily, they're too big to touch. But
it's like Lamborn.
Yeah.
Except for he had a perfect platform back in the day. He ruined his platform when he got so big.
Yeah, when he got so big. That's Matt.
Yeah.
Right. But he's a great coach. And it's really cool because he teaches us a lot about our own bodies. So after I left, I knew a lot of things on how to do them. And I'm actually getting my certification for physical training just as a side thing for fun, because I think it's good to know, the more I can learn about my body.
Totally. It's crazy, too. I've had a personal trainer for since I was with Hayden, so 6 years or whatever, and he's on call. He'll answer when I'm overseas. and help me out with whatever I need. But I'm gone most of the time, and like
Exactly.
he can only do so much. So like the more I know, the better off I'm gonna be. No matter what, no matter how good my trainer. Unless I'm gonna be an NBA guy flying my trainer around the world, or like those top tennis guys.
Which is
LeBron
tough to
flies
do.
around like a sleep coach.
If I'm exactly. If you're LeBron, they're like following you around, like,
Yeah.
hey, go to sleep, LeBron. He's like, okay.
Yeah, well, The Rock travels with his own gym, so
Right.
Does
yeah,
he?
yeah.
Yeah. What does he
sets it
call
up.
it? Like
I don't remember,
Iron
but
Paradise or something.
something like that. He sets up his own gym everywhere he goes, which
awesome.
maybe beach volleyball doesn't have the funds for yet.
Might be a little expensive to pack a gym.
Yeah, could have used that in Italy. We didn't have a gym, so we didn't work out for like 11 days. We got pretty out of shape.
You gotta suck it up, dude. You know how many hotel room workouts I've done?
Probably a lot.
You bring BAMs.
There's
and
tons of hills over there. Just take
Hills.
a
Yeah,
hike.
I did like 3 hill sprints, and I was like, pasta's catching up.
pasta
Yeah.
and altitude.
Yeah.
Pasta, altitude, and wine.
Oh yeah, there you
Good
go.
combo.
That'll do it. Yeah.
But your first international travel of the year went really well with silver medal, right?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, like what were I guess we'll backtrack a little bit further. Tries to take a quick exit. He's getting his infusions in today, so his shark blood. Let's call it. But like, how did you and Amanda go about like being partners in the first place? Because she was playing with Irene for a while, and you were kind of hopping back and forth.
Yeah, so I was kind of hopping back and forth with partners, but my main goal was I want to find somebody that I can travel with, that will go to these FIVBs. And I knew that I was starting out pretty low with points, so I was like, I'm willing to go wherever I need to go to earn points, and however much that's going to take. And so for me, I was looking for a partner like that, and then actually Amanda called me. I was in Florida visiting. I'm from Florida originally, and so I was visiting my best friend in Florida and my grandparents, and I get a call from this random Texas number, and I was like, who is this? She's like, hi, this is Amanda. Just wanted to give you a call, and like, are you around? Maybe we can get lunch sometime. And I was like, I'm actually in Florida, but I get back in a few days. And she was like, yeah, I was actually talking to Megan Bergdorf and talking about new partners, and I'd love to just sit down and talk with you. And so I was like, oh, this is really interesting. I walked back into my friend's apartment. I was like, I might have a new partner.
Oh, yeah.
But so Megan, I worked with Megan in the youth program for USA, and we had traveled to China when I played with Brittany Howard together. And Megan's just been like a great mentor in general, especially with the youth program. She did great things. And so from that, they ran into each other at the Bay Club, and she was just talking like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like my partner options, here they are. And she was like, have you ever thought of Corinne Quiggle? And she mentioned a few other people, and then she was like, I'm going to give her a call, see how it goes. Mm-hmm. And so then we met for lunch, talked about it. I gave her what I wanted to do. I was like, I want to go play internationally, play AVPs, but my biggest thing will be internationally, because that's where I want the experience, and that's my end goal. She was like, all right, this is great. So we practiced together a few times, and then she practiced with a few other people, and then gave me the phone call. And at the time, it was funny, I was currently playing with Carly Wopat, and she had practiced a few times with Brittany Hochever, and it was funny because we just kind of, we're going with them. And I think that it worked out like perfectly for both Carly and I. Like,
totally.
It was a great opportunity for both of us to play with great players. Yeah.
Beach volleyball partnerships crack me up. Just like how it goes about being done. Like, it's like speed dating, and you know that everybody is like talking to everybody else, and it just ends up just kind of slowly working out.
Yeah, I feel like you have to be very open to like just like what comes your way naturally, and like have a really good idea of like what you said. You knew what you wanted to do, what your dreams were, and you kind of stuck to that. I feel like some people can get pulled like, but this person wanted some AVPs and they only want to play domestically, so I guess I'll just do that. And then you kind of give up what makes you what makes you passionate, I guess.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I think it's smart to like really just stick to your guns and figure out what you want, and then the right partner will kind of like gravitate towards you.
Yeah, and I think that kind of happened. It was kind of all chance that Megan and Amanda kind of met up, and then they talked about it, and then we practiced a few times, and she was like, this is great. Like, you're so easy. You just kind of do your thing over there. And I'll do mine. And it just kind of meshed at the first few practices. So it was really fun to play with her.
Yeah.
It is still fun to play with her.
And definitely, like, one way to start a partnership is to go all the way to Cambodia. Like, if you don't really know a person that well, like, that's one way to get to know them. Like, how long is that flight? Like, 15,
well, we actually did a layover in Tokyo over the night.
Ooh.
So it was fun. She likes to do that so she can lay horizontally. I'm really good at sleeping, especially on flights.
Oh.
So I could have done however long. But
that is a great skill to have in our profession.
It is. But it was nice. We got to Japan. We got to lay down, work out, go in the pool, like
sushi?
Knock off. No, we didn't go that far. But
raw fish is a little risky,
especially abroad. Right before our next tournament,
Right,
I don't eat a lot of sushi.
If you're gonna eat it anywhere, though, you
Tokyo
eat it in
would
Tokyo.
be, that would
not
be the
Cambodia.
place. Not well. Yeah, I've learned my lessons. Not India, that's for sure.
Yeah, we did talk about that before. We both had bad trips to India.
Yeah. It was beautiful. The country was beautiful. I just didn't get to see much of it.
Yep.
Yeah, and you were traveling around in, like, tuk-tuks? That's your new...
Yes, the tuk-tuk was amazing.
What is that?
So it's like a little motorcycle with hooked behind it a little trailer, like covered...
Oh, wow,
I don't know how I describe that best, but...
little rickshaws.
Yeah,
But not with their own engine.
They're just off the motorcycle, pretty much. And some of them are connected.
Right.
We didn't realize that we were overpaying our $2 tuk-tuk until we actually got in one that was metered. And it came out to being a little, like, $1 or less. And we went way further, and we were like, oh, man, could have saved, like, $10. This is insane. But
on the trip.
Yeah, on the entire trip. The entire week we were there. But no, it was great. And all the tuk-tuk drivers were like, oh, we'll go show you this place. And we're like, oh, we only need to go to the venue, really.
Right.
But we got to explore a little bit after. It was awesome.
Cool. That's good. And then it's like Amanda went home, and you went straight to India.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure she was supportive of that, just so you could get your points. And then it's like, all right, let's like no more qualifying.
Yeah. So we actually talked about. We were even considering Cambodia because it was only going to be beneficial for her points if we got 5th or better. But for me, I was like, anything's going to help. And so we talked about that for a few months before too. And then deciding on India, I was like, hey, I just want to make it so that I can earn points for the team. And whether that didn't necessarily work out well because I ended up getting sick, but I was still, the thought was behind of me getting more points so that we can push ourselves into these higher tournaments. And Cassie, it worked out for her too because we both were in the same boat. We both had nothing, next to nothing. And so we both needed to start somewhere. So it was beneficial for both of us, except for the end result.
Right.
Well, how did you have to end up pulling out?
We played in the qualifier, but...
it was just still a qualifier?
Yeah, we were still in the qualifier.
So you just played through sickness in the quali?
Yeah.
One match?
One match.
Oh, it's
we didn't make it.
Well, at least a positive is that at least it was to an American team.
Yeah, which
the
I was
Norse
stoked that they got to go on. Yeah,
high school girls.
They ended up
like
actually
everything.
getting.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
They ended up getting sick too during the tournament.
Oh really?
A lot of people got sick. We were with some Israeli girls and they got sick as well. And they had seen me the day before. We were supposed to practice with them the day before the qualifier, and I had to tell them no. I couldn't even make it to the venue.
I've learned a trick overseas when you're in, like, that's third world country. You know, I don't know what the town was like, but where I was, it was like third world.
Oh yeah.
The trick is eat the fast food.
Eat the fast food.
We all were like getting sick, and then we just said screw it, and we all went. There was like a Domino's there. Of course, you have those like universal chains.
Yeah.
And we're like, we're eating that because it's familiar at least.
Right.
And
I will
seemed to be
say,
safe.
I think I got sick off of Subway.
Oh,
The only thing.
They had Subway?
They had
Just when you
Subway.
think you're safe.
But I got the lettuce,
Yeah,
I got
veggies,
the
you can't get
chicken.
it.
I was like, oh, it's Subway.
No,
but they
got-
wash it. And I also had an egg. The only 2 meals that I had by myself were Subway and this like kind of over easy egg. And it was either one of the two.
Because they
but
wash the vegetables in the water. And then the egg,
It's so crazy to me that
way.
like washing something can make you
makes it
sick.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's supposed to go the other way.
I know. I got sick. I've gotten sick off eating a bunch of spinach. Like I was like, oh, they have greens. Like, yeah. So I'm gonna get a bunch of greens in. I'm like, oh god, now I got sick for trying to eat a bunch of greens.
That's so
Where's
brutal.
the Domino's? Like,
The
screw it.
McDonald's.
Yeah, McDonald's.
They're really nice in China, McDonald's.
Whatever you cook,
bet.
whatever they cook.
I remember
like, a
in,
lot. If it's been really
At
hot.
the Beijing Olympics, Usain Bolt only ate McDonald's chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
Well, that's just dumb. Because they have a
That's all he
giant.
had.
They have a giant.
Players.
Yeah, Olympic Village with literally like it's. I've been to like different Pan American and World
Right.
University, all that. It's like, food from United States of America, food from it's like every country
Yeah.
around the world. You can get anything, and then
That's
of course
pretty cool.
there's just the McDonald's like glowing there.
Yeah.
So that's just
The golden arches.
That's on him.
The golden arches.
yeah, it's delicious.
Reel you in.
And everything's free too. So like
Oh.
go to McDonald's and just be
Yeah.
like,
You'd have to pay for something.
you don't have to pay.
Take 100 nuggets.
It's fuel. He has to run for what? 6 seconds? I don't know what his time
Yeah.
is, but
11 tops, pretty much.
yeah.
Yeah, if you include the warm up.
Don't hit that skip button, y'all. We'll be right back here after a word from our sponsors who keep the show going. And first off, since it's AVP season, we're going to lead off with our guys from Wilson. Everybody knows who makes the best beach volleyball in the game. That is Wilson Volleyball. So since we're in the middle of AVP season, it's time to head over to wilsonvolleyball.com, and you can use our discount code WilsonSand to get 20% off. So sometimes when you need a rack of 10 volleyballs, that can add up quick. Take 20% off with Wilson Sand to play the best volleyball in the game. Also brought to you by our guys at Firefly Recovery. Recovery is becoming a much bigger thing in the sport of beach volleyball and in just science in general, and our guys at Firefly have it down. For those of you who work in an office job or just do a lot of traveling, that's the best part of Firefly because you can use it as you're sitting down, whether it be in an office, whether it be in a car, if you're stuck on the 405 in that gnarly traffic, or in Austin, as I was recently down there, they got some bad traffic there, so just strap on one of those Fireflies and it will help you recover by stimulating the blood flow in whatever area you need to have recovered. It's awesome. I use it all the time, especially on the overseas flights, either for snow volleyball, for Norsekas, or whatever. It keeps my knees and legs feeling great, so I'm sure it'll do the same for you. So check out fireflyrecovery.com to learn how you can recover at home, in the office, wherever you need it. Now that we have some prize money on the AVP Tour, people making some money, they should learn what to do with that money, and you can find that at Pacific Coast Wealth Management. They're big helpers for the Laguna Beach Open, which is annually the best CBVA out there, and they can help you figure out your finances with smart planning. Whatever you need in terms of finances, Pacific Coast Wealth Management has you. Now, for our Pacific Coast Wealth Management-sponsored Olympic rankings, we have Tri-Bourne and Trevor Crabb are our number one ranked USA team in the race for Tokyo 2020, followed by Billy Kolinsky and Miles Evans and Theo Bruner and Reed Pretty. On the women's side, we have a lot. We have a stacked lineup up there. Number 2 in the world for the race to 2020 is Alex Kleinman and April Ross, who recently won a 4-star in Itapema, Brazil, so congratulations to them. Number 3 overall and number 2 for the U.S. is Carrie Walsh-Jennings and Brooke Sweat, closely followed by Emily Day and Betsy Flint, Kelly Larson, Emily Stockman, Sarah Hughes, and Summer Ross. The U.S. is loaded on the international scene for the women. So that is our Pacific Coast Wealth Management Olympic race update of the day of the podcast. So we will now get back to our show. Enjoy, and as always, if you enjoy the show, give us a review on iTunes, on Podbean, wherever you listen to this podcast. It helps us a ton, and we just appreciate you guys listening.
And then are you and Amanda doing the Pan Am Games qualifier?
No, we're not. It's during the same time as a few tournaments that we're
Okay.
trying to either, I think, Hermosa or Tokyo.
Okay.
I think it overlaps, so we decided
Gotcha.
not to do it.
Yeah. Was it, I know we kind of talked about this the other day at Zuma, but like you guys deciding to do a 3-star in Cambodia where you're in the qualifier rather than, because you guys would have been automatic into Huntington if you'd done that, right? Was that, because like financially that decision I'm sure was probably pretty difficult because like you have prize money, you don't have to travel to Huntington instead, you got to fly all the way back to, Malaysia?
Malaysia,
for a 3-star where you don't know if you're going to get in.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough decision, but for me, it makes sense, and for her too, because I think that if we want to continue to get into these bigger tournaments in the rest of the year, then we have to kind of make that sacrifice.
Yeah.
And it's great opportunities. There's a ton of great teams there, and if we're going to do it, then we we kind of have to put that above. I mean, if we don't end up getting in or something, we still might have time to come back, but that's not our thought. We're thinking, hey, we got to go do well in Malaysia, and so that we can put ourselves into a good spot to get us into those other tournaments.
Do you know where you guys stand right now for like points in the U.S.?
I don't know exactly where we stand, but we're close to, at least country quota-wise, we're like 1 or 2 team outs with 7 or 8.
Okay,
I think.
that's a good spot to be. Like once you're getting into country quotas, like you're at least giving
Yeah.
yourself a shot.
Are you guys getting into the direct athlete support from USA Volleyball?
I don't think
Not quite
so,
yet?
no.
You're like right
I
on
think
the edge
we're right on
probably.
the edge,
That's
yeah.
good. At
And-
least like once you start getting some monthly support,
Yeah.
then it feels like a
And
job.
the reevaluation period is coming up. So at that point, this is why Malaysia is also very important for us, because if we have the opportunity to pass a few teams while we're in Malaysia, or at least get into close numbers with them where only a few things here and there can happen. So that's really going to be important for us in front of the reevaluation period, which is
What's
in
the
May.
reevaluation?
It's every
It's every quarter
quarter,
Okay.
or 3. It might.
3 months or so. USA Volleyball reevaluates the points, and then for the next 3 months, that the rankings determine who gets paid what for the monthly stipends.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I want to say top 12 get paid.
12 teams or
it
players?
was.
Players,
Okay.
It might be. Yeah.
something like that. So like I know the 1 through 4 players, so the top 2 teams usually. But it can be different because if teams have changed out, then your player ranking is different than your partners. Top 4 get paid a certain amount, and then it goes down a little bit to 5 through 8, and then it goes down a little bit from 9 through 12. But you really obviously want to get paid.
Yeah, you just want to get into that 12.
Yeah, even
And
if
once-
even if it's the back
Once
end.
you have a steady paycheck as a beach
And
volleyball
then-
player, you've made it.
Yes.
Then you're in.
For
top
sure.
8, I believe, get health insurance.
I
Is it
think
top
so,
8?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
Or 6. I
that'd be
don't know.
really good.
So,
Yeah, you want that, trust me.
yeah. So that's why these tournaments are really important for us.
Yeah,
also.
okay. That makes sense.
Yep.
Because a lot of times I feel like a lot of people who don't really follow that as close or know like the ins and outs of USA would have no idea why someone would skip Huntington for like a 3-star. Because even 3-stars don't
Yeah.
pay out that well.
Well, we talked about it a lot on the podcast last week or two with Tyler Hildebrand.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like it when you're getting that support. You're like, okay, I'm getting, $2,000-3,000 a month, $1,000-3,000 a month. You're like, okay, that's a good amount. Like this really helps as a volleyball player. But if you take into consideration, especially as a top team, once you start getting a coach paid for, all your travels paid for, I think he said it's the top players are getting about close to $100,000 in value
That's
of stuff they're
crazy.
getting paid for and,
Yeah.
Whoa.
and all that. And like I'm getting a coach paid for right now, and with
That's awesome.
we have Jose flying around the world with us and he can actually commit to it rather than a coach that's like has to do something else for most of the time. So there's some serious value in
That's huge.
getting your
I didn't
points
realize
up.
that USA did that too.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There's a lot, and they'll depending on your ranking, you get access to the massage therapists, to the ATC, the USOC sports psych. They have nutritionists, and like there's a lot. So people aren't just going overseas to collect the
small paycheck.
$1,000 paycheck.
Yeah.
You're trying to get up in the system,
Definitely.
which will make everything easier. Plus your seatings will go up and all that.
Yeah, so there's a lot behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that. I feel like, have you taken time to sort of reflect on how fast your volleyball career is like going? Because last year at this time you were like
In college.
pretty like in college you were getting ready for Gulf Shores,
Yeah.
and then playing in qualifiers, and now you're like going to 3-stars, like on the border of being in country quotas for major FIVBs.
Yeah, it's crazy. It takes me a little while sometimes. I'm like, this is crazy. I'm going from Mexico. I'm waiting 3 days, and then I'm going to Malaysia to play in a 3-star.
That's awesome.
And I have the opportunity to play in Huntington too, or we're going to go to Austin. Like all these tournaments are coming up. I'm like, this is just amazing to be able to know like, oh, we're going to be in here. Or we're going to be able to. We're getting into these tournaments, even the 3-star, even if it's in the qualifiers. Like we have that opportunity. to go like have the opportunity to play to get into those big tournaments, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
That's a great mindset to have, especially after your first
Yeah.
tournament was going to India and getting sick. Like,
Yeah.
wow, this sucks.
Yeah, well, everyone goes through it.
No,
you
totally.
know. I was on the phone
Can
with
only
Amanda.
go up from there.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
If you hit rock bottom, almost get sent to the hospital
Yeah.
in India,
Everyone, I
pass
think,
out on a flight home.
did you pass out?
I did. I didn't have enough fluids or nutrients in my body that I
Right.
started passing out on the flight home, and then I had to come home and get IVs, and
Oh,
it
God.
was a fun experience,
It's-
but everyone goes through it, right?
Yeah,
Maybe not.
BJ's.
not in a
Yes.
third world country and then on an airplane.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's scary enough feeling like that at home when you have doctors and your family
Yeah.
around. But when you're in a third world country, like, I do not want to go to this hospital. Like,
Well,
this
I
is a
actually
bad
went and
hospital.
looked at them because I knew that if I stayed there, I'd probably have to end up in a hospital. They were going to take me. They actually called the ambulance for me before I started playing. And I was like, no, I'm going to play. And they were like, okay, go ahead.
Hey, we want to take you to the hospital. No, I'm actually going to go run around and jump in sand and sun.
And they were like, okay, we'll wait here for when you're coming back. And I was like, okay. But
Jeez.
yeah, it was interesting.
Dedicated.
Well, we were all
We
the
know
way
your
there.
level of commitment.
Yeah.
It is official.
It is.
Wow.
But yeah,
That's true. You did fly across the world to do it, so.
to be in India
Oh, that's crazy.
and Cambodia. Which Cambodia
Yeah.
was amazing. I had a great time
Yeah,
there.
you were raving about Cambodia.
Yeah, I mean, the people were so nice. The area was beautiful. I thought the venue, too, they put it on so well, which for a 2-star, Amanda was like, I'm very impressed. And I've only been to a few. I've been to one 2-star before, which I thought was pretty nice, too, but in China. But this one, like, the hosts were so welcoming. They had, like, a party every night there.
Oh, wow.
And somehow they cleaned it up, like, perfectly for the next day for training. But
It's awesome.
the crowds, too. The people in Cambodia, like, the whole place is filled almost the entire time.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a good feeling.
What
Even on the
language-
Thursday.
What language do they speak in Cambodia?
Cambodian.
Cambodia.
Is that
I
Wait,
don't
where is
know.
I
Cambodia
didn't know.
exactly?
It's right. It's
Trying to
it
picture
looks and sounds a little similar to like what they speak in Thailand. I don't know the
Okay.
exact.
It's close.
Yeah, they're all
Thailand, right?
they're all around
So
Malaysia,
Malaysia's-
Thailand,
yeah. Okay.
Vietnam, Cambodia,
Indonesia.
Indonesia. Yeah, they're all in that area of the world.
Micronesia? Is that what that area is called? Maybe?
You're definitely asking the wrong guy.
I don't know.
Polynesia, Melanesia, Micronesia. There's it's one of those. It's not Polynesia. Anyway.
Sorry, I interrupted there.
We need to get
You
our
were
map.
talking about Thursday.
Oh, well, I just said Thursday, the crowd was huge. Like, for the qualifier, I was like, do these people
That's
go to
awesome.
work? I don't know. How does it work?
That is
But,
awesome.
I mean, every day there was tons and tons of people there. They all came in on their motorcycles or tuk-tuks and filled the entire place. So
That's
I
awesome.
just love the name tuk-tuk. It just sounds so
Came in
clever.
on my
Just going in on my
tuk-tuk.
tuk-tuk.
It makes them all sound so friendly.
yeah, we took like a 2-hour tuk-tuk. Well, I felt more comfortable in the tuk-tuks than a taxi because I didn't know the area, and getting into
Right.
like a taxi, well, there weren't many taxis to start
Yeah.
with, but getting into a closed door as 2 girls in the middle of
Yeah.
Asia, I was like,
At least the
eh.
tuk-tuk, you can just tuck and roll.
Yeah,
real
if
easy.
anything were to happen, I felt safe, and they were all pretty nice.
That's good.
Speaking of feeling safe, I got to bring this back up. You were saying earlier that you were taking some martial arts classes.
Yes.
Krav Maga, right?
Krav Maga.
I've been super interested. What is it? Krav Maga?
Krav Maga.
Krav Maga. I've been interested in those sorts of things. I dabbled with Tai Chi, which is pretty much the opposite.
Yeah,
You're like barely moving.
yeah.
But
My brother
how's
took
that
that
been?
in China.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome. I actually love it. It's really fun to feel like, actually, when I was in Cambodia, I was like, I feel pretty confident because, one, I was taller than most people, and I'm not super tall, but
Right.
over there I stand out.
Well, like a tall blonde girl too, in like those Asian countries you
Yeah.
definitely stand out.
But after taking those classes, I was like, in a certain situation, I actually thought in my head, like, if something were to happen, I think I could handle it.
I could drop at least 8
Yeah.
of these schools.
No, but it's actually fun. It's a big workout, but learning like the weak parts of the body and how to
Yeah.
attack them efficiently. It's makes you feel at least a little safer when you travel, and also it's just kind of fun to know.
Totally. I think that's a great idea, especially for
Don't
women.
mess with Corinne Quiggle this season.
Oh yeah, no.
No one charges
down.
into the net.
Yeah, she will not back down. Might get your neck broken though.
That's fun. Yeah. Well, I did
Maybe
learn.
if you want to use that.
Yeah, no, that's only in extreme situations.
I love it. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, but that's cool. Like the part of beach volleyball is that it also gives you the time to get out and learn new things. I mean, like Krav Maga, I was really into. I'm also teaching myself the piano.
Nice.
But like just the ability that you get to expand your.
A lot of downtime. I mean, resting. You can kind of multitask there.
Exactly.
You know, reading a ton of books when you're traveling.
Learning.
You could take online classes. Ryan Doherty got his CPA.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
that's awesome.
I mean, I guess in the off season or something. I've taken classes up in Hollywood just for fun.
Yeah, and I'm getting the certification. Like you do have that time that you can't fill with a real job necessarily, but you can do those things on your own time.
I think it's important too because I mean, athletes in general, you get to the end of your career and you hear about, athletes die twice, right? When they retire and then when they die. And I think it's important to come out of your career with like a bunch of knowledge and things that you've gained where you can go to someone, to a job interview and be like, I'm completely confident to do this.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I'm overqualified and I'm good at all this, whatever it is. But I think you should definitely put in the time to like learn a bunch of stuff. I've learned a bunch of business stuff doing the Sandcast now.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe this is just gonna be our life.
Dude, when I met you, you were reading some crazy books too. You learned a lot. Learned a lot about the mind.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, learn a little bit about everything.
Yeah.
I think it's a great call.
Yeah, and I also had a little internship. Well, I still do technically with Morgan Stanley. So like getting into like the finance world still, but yet still being way open to do all my volleyball. It's very much on my own schedule, which has been nice.
I keep seeing like Nicolette and Kelly Clays, and they're taking and Sarah, they're doing like dance classes.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're doing those.
I thought about that
that'd
too.
be fun.
I could be a little cooler at the player parties, first of all, and I hear that's good, like footwork.
Hey, we took some salsa.
Oh, we did. We did a salsa.
I actually do salsa lessons too with my boyfriend. Yeah, there's a place.
Do you go down to the pier on Monday nights?
No, but I have been meaning to. We don't go out. We actually just take the classes. I've also learned how to waltz recently. It's not difficult, but it's fun.
It's a great idea.
Yeah. Dancing is fun.
We weren't dancing together, by the way, you guys.
That's cute.
Our significant others were with us.
Yeah.
Me and Travis down there. 1, 2. Team Sandcast.
Actually, Nicolette and I used to go dancing, and also Delaney and I used to go line dancing. And
you went to Borderline.
Borderline, and we would go two-stepping, and when there were no guys, Delaney was always my dance partner.
Yeah.
I'd feel a little more weird doing it with Travis.
It makes sense, but
I don't know why. I mean, it should be absolutely normal, right? Just friends dancing.
Yeah.
Holding each other.
Embracing each other. Swinging.
Fine.
Swing me. Oh, yeah.
So that's what you do when you're not playing then. Well, you also ukulele, right? Are you still playing?
What?
Yeah, I play the ukulele.
There we go. Oh, there's usually one hanging around here.
Yeah, we gotta get you playing. Well, now we just.
I wish that I tried to learn that.
I actually learned it with my mom. I had a semester off before I went to college. I graduated high school early and then had that full semester off and then went into college the semester early, and my mom and I would just sit at night and learn how to play the ukulele. And
That's
then
great.
My little brother and I had a little duet that we'd do. It was it was cute, actually.
So you still got it? Still got your skills?
Yeah, I've played. I haven't played in a while because I don't have my ukulele with me all the time. I leave it at my parents' house, but it's fun. It's relaxing.
Right, it would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Hand it to you.
Oh,
I
go for it.
Yeah.
Well,
I wouldn't sing though,
but
unless my little brother was here.
Maybe we'll do a performance at the end of the show.
That would be great. Our new sign off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there we go. Can you play the coconut loop?
Oh yeah.
We have a little coconut loop at the end of the show.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what the song is called.
The coconut loop?
Coconut
I didn't know. I was
Yeah.
When you were in, what part of Florida did you grow up in?
Ponte Vedra Beach.
Okay.
So
Which
it's by
is?
TPC Sawgrass, if you know golf,
Okay.
but if you don't, it's by Jacksonville.
Okay.
Florida, up
And
north.
TPC is where they have the famous Island Green.
Yeah.
On 17.
Have done the island green, have never made it to the island.
No?
Oh, really?
No, I'm a water ball kind of gal.
Sorry, I think most of us probably would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way I would
Yeah,
do
but
that.
So how did you end up finding your way to Pepperdine? Because it's not close at all. It's literally totally opposite.
yeah,
side
so
of
my
the country.
dad is actually from California, like born and raised in California. And my parents met at UCLA. So my dad grew up here, and he always said to my brother and I when we were young that we could go anywhere in the world to college as long as it was UCLA or Pepperdine. Because we'd never be able to live in those areas unless we're doing really well for ourselves after college. So he just thought Pepperdine was a gorgeous campus, and UCLA is where he went, and he loved it. So our whole lives we were brainwashed to think Pepperdine, UCLA.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then they happen to be one of the top beach volleyball programs.
Exactly,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
And my brother went to Pepperdine before me. So I was talking to a lot of Florida schools, and then I went out to visit my brother one time, got in contact with Marcio and Nina, and they came and watched me at a little CBVA youth tournament, and they were like, yeah, we'll take you. I was like, what? Awesome. And
Oh, yeah.
so then my whole family eventually moved out here with me. My dad had always been trying to get us to move back to California once we got a little older. And my younger brother was still young enough to move. You know, he didn't have...
Was like rooted yet.
exactly.
Right.
So we just made the whole move.
Wow.
And so you were what, 15?
No, I was 16.
Or well, I mean,
as
like
a
2015 was when it was your freshman.
2014 was my
2014,
freshman in
okay.
college.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then like that was when beach volleyball was still pretty new in college. Well, yeah, because it was still AVCA back then. Like when you were in high school, how did the recruiting landscape change for you? Because I'm sure that you were probably in a period where it was like kind of, is it a sport? Is it not a sport? Like, are there scholarships? What's the deal?
That was interesting. So there were scholarships when I was getting recruited, but it was very much like, it was still AVCA, and as a freshman, it was still AVCA for me. But it was up and coming, so there's so many schools that had the opportunity to like give you scholarships for that. And a lot of them I was talking to a few schools for both indoor and beach in Florida, which I was like, oh, that could be perfect. But then when Pepperdine came along as one of the top programs in the country, they had won already, I think, twice.
In 2012.
And they're one of the only beach schools that's actually on the beach. And like, well, yeah, you play right down the road.
Nina is a legend in the sport, and then Marcio coached Carrie and Misty. I mean, he still coaches Carrie, but I was like, how can I pass that up?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it all worked out. And I didn't really play beach that much in Florida. I did, but I didn't know how. I mean, I was playing that two down, I mean, just like indoor kind of. So I actually did a USA program, and that's when I got really involved with it. I made like a little A3 group because they didn't know anybody, and then they were kind of like, oh, she can actually play. And the next year I made the A1 and came out to California for that whole summer, and it was amazing. The training that they had for us there, we had like Barb as a coach, Holly, Jana Haroni, like we had training every single day, and it was amazing. And that's when I learned how to play beach volleyball, like right before I went to Pepperdine. So they took kind of a chance on me because I was just learning how to play beach volleyball at that point.
At the time, like pretty much anybody who was on a beach scholarship, you had to take a little bit of a shot because it wasn't a thing growing up for you for your generation. But now, like the younger kids, like the grassroots is blowing up because now, like all these parents, are like holy cow, like, you can get a free education at like a $60,000 a year school like Pepperdine to play beach volleyball. Like, that's crazy.
I'd say in California it was a little bit more established because these girls had beach volleyball at their high schools. That's like. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I wish I had that in
crazy.
Florida. When I moved out here, like a lot of them, they all had beach programs already, and I was like, we would have like one day a week with our indoor team, like, hey, we're gonna go to the beach because we lived near the beach too. But that was about it. That was about our extent. So it was definitely way different when I came to California and saw like these girls already had like years under their belts, and I was like very new, but even more so now that the girls are just starting at such a young age. I coach a lot of girls, and I've coached like 11-year-olds, 10-year-olds. I'm like, wow, how do these people start so young? It's amazing though. They're going to be good too.
The next generation's going to be really good. We got to look out.
It's exciting though.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was coaching one of these girls, and my mom was like, that could be, her age gap is the same as mine and Amanda's. And she was like, that could be your new partner. And I was like, wow, I didn't even think about it. Like, it's the same age gap, which is crazy.
John Hayden, when I was playing with him, we're 17 years apart.
Wow.
And his kid would come to practice all the time, and he's like, you two could play together. Me and his son are like, I want to say like the same age gap. Or around the same, maybe even less.
That's so funny.
That's crazy.
So I could, if I played another, say 10 years when I'm 40 or like, I mean, John's 46.
Yeah.
I could be playing with his son as well.
With his son,
And his
that'd be
dad.
awesome. You should stick around just for that.
That'd be cool.
Full circle. That would be a career.
I'll
full circle
retire
right there.
with Jackson Hayden.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, and now with AVP and FIVB coming up, like you've kind of made the commitment. You're going international. There's a lot of conflicts this year. Have you kind of worked out which ones
Yeah.
you're going to?
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot, and at the point where we're at, if we can get into those big tournaments, I think we have to go. But we're planning to stay around for the Gold Series because those are just great tournaments to make money and get points in. So we're balancing them out as we go. As the life of a beach volleyball player, we don't know until like the week before,
Right.
Yep.
21 days out, we get
Yep.
alerted that we're in, but we still have to figure out all the little things.
It's
Yeah,
unfortunate, but
It's funny talking like, so my mom is a huge planner when she's traveling, like flights 3 months beforehand. And so when me and Hagen signed up for a 2-star in Cambodia, like right after you and Amanda went, and we were on the reserve list like 15 days before, my mom was like, so are you going? I was like, I don't know yet. She was like, you haven't gotten flights? You don't know where you're staying? I was like, no. And then like when we road tripped to Venice, like we didn't get a hotel till like 11:30 at night. Wow. We just kind of rolled in and we're like, got a room?
Yep.
He's like, got a room for 2. And I was like, oh, the other guys aren't with us. And then they just snuck them in the back door.
That's awesome.
So we had 4 pretty large men to 1 bed. It was great.
oh geez.
Chase and Chris Vaughn took the floor. Me and Zon cuddled.
Wow.
Classic.
Standard beach volleyball travel.
Standard, I know. Really, you have to be willing to be flexible, which
Yeah.
I think I am. I mean, when I first moved out to California, we didn't have a place, and I was already living out here, so I was couch hopping and staying. I didn't actually have my own room for like 3 years. My little brother, when we did get a place, eventually my little brother and I shared a room, but I didn't have a closet, and when we had guests over, they would take my bed, so I'd have to go sleep somewhere else, because we once had like a few guests there at a time, so we gave the parents the bed and the kids a couch, and then they were like, my parents came over to me one day and they were like, by the way,
Here's a blanket.
do you think you could figure out where you're gonna stay tonight? I was like, oh.
Got any friends?
Yeah, they were like, yeah, maybe, and I was like, yeah, I'll figure it out. Maybe. And they're like, oh, what about for the next 2 days? And I was like, yeah, I'll figure it out.
Nice.
So it's kind of been like that for me, I feel like, and I actually like it. It's good to be on your toes.
It's definitely a good skill to have coming into the sport.
Yeah.
I think.
You gotta be pretty flexible.
Yeah.
I haven't really heard of anyone who just like couldn't handle that.
Yeah.
There's been a few people who just refuse to go on the world tour, and just like that's not the life for them. But most people that go aren't gonna be getting the suite.
I think you know like what you're getting into, or at least for the most
Right.
part. So
Probably.
I don't know.
Reed may have gotten the suite.
Yeah, I feel like him and
Right off the bat.
like Adam Roberts.
Yeah, A-Rob. Travel with A-Rob, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe once you hit that like 40 mark, you're like, all right, no more floors for me.
Yeah.
Maybe 30. Hopefully 30. I'm almost 30.
30. I got a while.
Yeah.
Well, I remember talking to Mike Dodd when he was coaching Jake and Rosie, and when he went to the Olympics, like he slept on their floor.
At the Olympics?
I think so.
Wow.
Or just like throughout the season too, just kind of like bunked up.
And he was like 60 at that point.
After having played like NBA for a minute and then indoor beach, so his body was not like fresh.
No.
He's
No.
not like a spring chicken.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. It's funny listening to the old school guys talk about that stuff.
Oh, yeah. The Hovland podcast was one of a
It
kind.
was pretty great.
Yeah.
Who were your like beach or volleyball just like role models growing up? Was there anyone that you looked at that kind of inspired you to play?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this earlier. Gabby Reese she went to Florida State, which is not necessarily near me, but it's kind of similar. And so I knew of her, and of course Carrie and Misty. I looked up to them my whole life. They were like the untouchable team, which is so cool. Now that like I practice with her, and my coach is also her coach, and we see each other all the time. It was just a crazy switch to like look up to them as I'm growing up. My good friend in Florida is this shorter brunette. And so we used to play in tournaments together, and I was like, I'm Carrie, and she was Misty, and it was really fun. Now I'm like, okay, I want to be Misty now that I'm a defender, because she's unreal. But yeah, I mean, I definitely looked up to them and watched them all growing up, which is so cool to be here at the same time as them too.
Right.
I mean, especially with Carrie.
It's cool that like Carrie's stuck around that long.
Yeah.
Now it's like Tiger Woods. Like they were just talking about it yesterday at the Masters. Is like all the guys that are winning the Spieths and stuff were like, it's almost like the Michael Jordan, where they're like, I got to watch Tiger in his prime, but I was so young. It was like, it's a different perspective.
Yeah, definitely.
And now Tiger came all the way back around,
and won.
he's playing with them, but like as the best guy,
And still winning.
Like,
crazy.
wow, we get to experience Tiger in his prime
It's crazy.
Again.
like
Yeah.
what? Yeah, that's nuts. But Carrie's same thing. Like
Yeah.
you really, she's had a lot of ups and downs, but over the last few years. But who the hell is going to count her out at this
Exactly,
point?
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
The longevity of the sport too is so amazing. It's similar with golf too. But
Yeah, totally. Thank God. If your window is like a football player is like 3 years,
yeah.
Yeah.
it'd be like a fun little hobby after college.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. And I think players like the John Hydens and the Carries are like making it so they're like pushing that bar further and further. I think most people are like, yeah, no, I'm not playing in my 40s. Like, why would I do that? I'm probably gonna suck.
Yeah.
Now they're looking at Hyden at like 46. They're like, I guess I'll push that bar back to 45. And like Jake Gibbs not slowing down.
Yeah. And Phil's back.
Phil, all these guys,
coming back,
Phil,
yeah.
Rosie, Casey, Jake, Nick, they're all going to be 40 next year, I think. Or like
crazy.
close, somewhere around
It's
there. Yeah.
It's
Emmett
also
Hyden.
encouraging though, because it's
Yeah.
like I have
Yeah.
you got 20 years to be where you are, you know.
Part of me feels like when I look at you guys, when I first started playing when was your freshman year of college? 14?
14 to 15.
So that was my first years playing pro-ish. So I feel like a veteran when I look at you guys. But then when I look at them, I'm like, I'm still 29.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm good.
Still got
I
plenty
got
of room.
plenty of time.
You got like
I'm
3
like a
years to
rookie when I
prime.
look at them. I like them
Exactly.
sticking around.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Do you
crazy.
still have like the awe factor of when you practice with Carrie? Because I saw you with her the other day. Is it still like when you're warming up, you're like, oh my God? Or is it kind of wearing off a little bit?
I mean, it's never gone. It's more of like an appreciation. Like, I'm not nervous the whole time I'm practicing with
Yeah.
her, but like when I get there, I'm like, this is so awesome. Like, I'm practicing with the person that I looked up to, watched their Olympics when I was like tiny. She actually said her first Olympics was in 2000
Yeah.
because we asked her, and I was 3 or 4. It's like, and she was like, wow. We actually, while we were doing a setting triangle,
That's crazy.
Amanda asked, like, when was your first Olympics? It was 2000. I was like, wow, I was 3. She was like, oh, that makes me feel good.
Holy
Like,
crap.
yeah, just that little realization, too, while we were even doing that. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
this is so cool.
Yeah. I think Riley and Maddie McKibbins, their little brother, I grew up with them, and their little brother was born in 2000, I think.
Wow.
And so when we were in college, me and Riley were roommates. Little Jameson would come up. He was like, I don't know, 8 years old, 9 years old. We'd like joke around, like, oh yeah, like you're gonna go to SC one day. He's at SC right now.
He's there.
I'm like, this. We're in the future. Like, what the hell? How did he grow up?
It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's
Yeah.
nuts to me that like 2000 was 19 years ago. It's nuts.
That is nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember the first time when I was working with high school kids on their college application essays, and I met with a kid who was born in like 2003. It's like,
My little brother's 2004.
are you kidding me?
That's so. Yeah, it is weird.
like
Because when you're younger, you don't
unfathomable.
like think about people being born past 2000.
Yeah.
Right. Now, like we're gonna be like the old people when
Yeah.
we're older because we're born in
1900.
1900s.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Now I get it why like when adults when I was little would like freak out when I said I was born in 1990. They're like, "Did you hear that? He's a 90." Now it's like the other way. Like 90, we're so old.
Yeah, that is crazy.
You mentioned that Olympics are a goal down the road. Have you thought about like what I don't want to say what year, but like is 2020, 24? I know LA's 28, which would be sweet. And that's way in the future. But
Yeah,
That's the one
Well,
everyone wants.
I know. Well, I think 2024, 2028. I mean, right now, I think still anything can happen. I know the points race is hard, and we have a lot of girls in the top. Our top two teams are doing great right now, but really anything can happen if during this Olympic qualifying. And just to be in it and to kind of see how it goes during this session of time, like, is still a great learning period for me to know, like, hey, this is what I have to do for 2024 and 2028. So we want to go and do as well as we can in these tournaments. And if it's doesn't work out for 2020, I still think that it's like super important to go through the process.
Totally.
So that in that time period, I mean, I'll be like, I mean, I'm pretty young coming out of college, so I think even then, like, I still have a long way to.
How old are you now?
I'm 21.
21. Okay.
Yeah, and so I still have like so many years to like I feel like hit my prime.
Totally.
And so going through the process now and then being able to look back and say, hey, this was the tournaments, like we have to get 12, like knowing the process at least
Yes.
helps a lot.
yeah.
I 100% agree with that. Having been through it, I mean, beach volleyball is, especially if you're going to play international and that's your goals, is you think of it in quads.
Yeah.
So to go into the next quad being like, I went through the last one, even if it's only half of it, you know.
Yeah, the last
And you
half.
went through the process, you felt the pressures, and you understand the flow of the world tour and how it works and blah, blah, blah. That's so valuable. Because, I mean, the beginning of the last one, I was not even on the world tour. So I wasn't thinking about trying. I wanted to play international, but I didn't think about Olympics. I'm like, not 2016. And then by the end of it, I was like one of the guys fighting for it, you know? And I had no idea at that point. But looking back on it now, I'm like, I feel like I have a lot of value to bring to the table now that I've been through a quad and I've like went for it. Just that having that mindset to go into tournaments, like I'm trying to fight all these people for these Olympic points.
Exactly.
Whether you go or not, it's definitely going to help you in the next quad. So good
Thank you.
attitude.
That's the mindset behind it.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm totally thinking of it as like me having upper hand because none of the other guys my age got to really go through it last year. No one under 20 was like actually in the running for it, right? The crabs were like just kind of dabbling and getting in there. So yeah, it's going to be very valuable in the future.
And a lot of the girls that are getting younger and younger are knowing the system better and better.
Yep.
And so that, I think, even with me going through it, at least this time, like even with the younger girls coming up, like I'll still be able to have that knowledge and go through it.
You want to feel that pressure too. You don't want it to be like the first time.
The first time ever,
when-
yeah.
And they'll be going through it for the first time most likely. Whenever it is, 2021? Yeah. When the next quad starts up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
How would you like? I'm so curious. What would you think the competition equivalent is of like a 2-star or 1-star? Because I was looking at like I mean Cassie, who you got a 5th in Manhattan with Cassie, right?
With Kim Smith.
Or Kim Smith, okay, which is awesome. But like Cassie and Laura just won 2 in a row, which are kind of like a fringe main draw qualifier team. So I was kind of curious.
What'd they win?
What they won in 1-stars in.
I know it.
I'm not up to date.
Cambodia. Is Cambodia and
These
Malaysia?
tournaments are in Cambodia.
No, they were just in
Cambodia's had a
Malaysia.
busy season. And they're going to Greece.
And they're
now?
going to Sweden.
Sweden.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. So I feel like right now these 2-stars and 1-stars, the 2-stars and 3-stars are actually, I feel like the 3-stars are more packed with people because it's Olympic qualifying. I don't know about the 1-stars as much. The 1-star that we were at, I think if we were both in good conditions to play that tournament, that we could have done really well. But 2-stars, you can kind of get a good mix. There's still some pretty good teams there that are just trying to solidify like a finish maybe if they're going to lose another one.
I think it depends on timing.
Depends on the tournament, yeah.
So, and where you are in the world.
Yeah.
So like if people are already in that area, then a lot of teams will stick around because it's easy. But if
Like
it's like a one-off.
for the Malaysia one, a lot of the teams are already in Xiamen in China.
Right.
And so like Laura Ludwig's going to Malaysia, Carrie and Brooke. There's a lot of actually really good teams in that 3-star that are also playing in the 4-star. So I think it's a little bit competitive, but it definitely depends on where and when.
Yeah, exactly. If it's out of the way, then...
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of like the non-beach like power countries are sending their top team to like the 1s or 2-stars, and like you can get some sneaky really good teams. Like Austria has like Huber and Chris Dressler playing in 2-stars, and like Huber was in 2016.
Yeah,
he's legit. So I feel like there's like a huge talent gap. I feel like the 2s and 1s are probably really top heavy. Because I saw Cassie and Lara beat a Cambodian wildcard team like 21-6, 21-0.
I think that there's a little bit of a gap.
Oof.
Yeah. I'd say the 1-star is less than the 2-stars because there weren't a lot of teams were skipping over the 1-stars because the most points you can get in that is 100 points if you win
That's
the whole
it?
thing.
Oh my
100
gosh.
each, but yeah, it's not enough, and a lot of people would lose points. So that's why Amanda didn't come with me to India, was because she would just lose
more
points.
playing in a 3-star qualifier and losing than winning 1-star.
Wow.
And so it's kind of depends. But if you're going to lose the finish, maybe, then 1-star is like equal to Norseka too, with points wise. If you win it, you both get 100.
So happy we're going to Mexico.
You gotta get those 100 points, bro.
At least it doesn't. Norsekas don't count.
Yeah, it doesn't take away
doesn't,
anything.
Yeah.
It can only help you.
It's like the AVP next of the FIVB.
Oh yeah. Wait till you see how it's run.
Yeah.
Well, you've been to a few.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you've been.
I've been to a few. We didn't get picked up in Cuba, and we actually took a random. We met a guy in the airport. We met a guy
In Cuba.
in Cuba, and he spoke English, and he was like, "You guys American?" We're like, "Yeah, we're here." He's like, "Oh, I'm actually headed out." It was the Veraderos where we played was like an hour or two away from the hotel or from the airport. And we were like, "How are we gonna get there?" And he's like, "I'm actually headed that way. You want to hop in the van?" And we're like,
He's just a random guy?
No, he was a really nice guy.
Oh,
So,
that's still random.
yes, we did meet him in the airport, but
Wow, okay.
he was a great guy. He was from
Good vibe.
Miami. I mean, I trusted him.
Yeah,
clearly.
I guess it worked out that time.
Yeah.
I'd be nervous if I was your dad.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Norseka Adventures.
He's like,
it-
I would have paid for any.
I know. At that point, my dad was like, would have been like. But nothing bad happened. They
you're good
actually
now.
took us a little out of the way, which we got to see a lot of Cuba. And
cool.
then he set up us a ride back to the airport because the Norseka 2 was still a little. We actually, the shuttle or something didn't come, so we actually ended up taking like 3 USA teams in this little little car in Cuba all the way back to the airport where they had to stop for gas, so we went to the guy's house and he took off the beer can that was holding the gas tank closed, filled up at his house, put
Didn't get nervous at all.
the beer can back on and kept going.
Norseka Adventures.
It's cool, you guys. I'm not kidnapping you. I'm
It's
just
fine,
going to
we're
take you to
just-
my house,
yeah.
That's
on the way.
so funny.
It's cool.
Yeah, that's
So
been
great.
fun.
Okay, yeah.
We've had some good adventures.
For sure.
Yeah.
There's no shortage of stories from the travels.
I don't think I've ever been in China and had a bus not stall and stop for 2 hours on the side of the road.
Totally.
Nice.
Yep.
That's happened to me every time, actually.
I've yet to hear one good story from China. Like one person who's just like.
I
stoked,
love
like,
China,
yes,
actually.
You're number one.
I love China. I will say my brother.
I play well in China, but they're usually kind of brutal trips.
They are, but my brother lived in Shanghai for a year,
Okay.
and so I know a little bit of Chinese. And
Ah.
the Chinese people are all so nice.
They are.
Maybe it's because I'm blonde, but I think it's great. I love China. I think traveling
not
there, I'm
the
always so
easiest.
excited.
Yeah, that's good.
You also
There you
speak
go.
so many languages. Like you speak bits and pieces of what?
Bits and
5?
pieces. I'm learning German right now. I know a little bit of Chinese. I'm pretty good at Spanish, but actually Cuban Spanish, I realize I'm a lot better at Cuban Spanish than I am
I didn't know
any
that there
other
was a
Spanish.
difference.
No, it's not just dialects, but I understand that Spanish. It's probably because I grew up in Florida. But like Spain Spanish, I was just over there last summer, and I was like, okay, I know what you're trying to say, but I can hardly understand. Like, I
Right.
couldn't understand much of it. But I'm learning a little Portuguese because my coaches are Brazilian. I really enjoy languages.
Languages are so fun.
Yeah.
How do you do it? You online software? Or?
Online a little bit. I have a bunch of apps, but also my brother is fluent in Chinese, so he teaches me a little bit of Chinese. My little brother is actually learning it also in school,
That's pretty
and
cool.
so
Good for
I
brother.
pick up.
Chinese is not easy.
I know but it's such a fun language, and then I think when you learn the language, you also learn so much about like the people, and
Yeah.
when you
Totally.
travel this much, it's like.
You can
It's one of
relate.
my
I'd
biggest
love to do that.
passions to like learn parts of the languages, and I wish I could be fluent in all of them. It's really hard.
A lot of time.
Brain only has so much space.
Yeah, I know. When I was actually trying to speak Spanish with somebody, and I started speaking German. Well, I said like me, I was like ich, and then I was like, oh my gosh, that's German, and I just mixed the two, and I was like, I'm so
Now you're just speaking Quiggle.
sorry. Yeah, I'm like mixing all these, but I'm trying. You know, I just think
That's
it's
cool.
so fascinating when you go and you can go to these countries and then like you can try to communicate with them, but it also teaches you about the culture and the people and why they
Yeah.
are the way they are.
Right.
It's like
Makes the
fascinating
trip
to me.
way more enjoyable rather than like being that tourist that is somewhat judgy because they're
Exactly,
so
yeah.
different than you.
And a lot of people will think like a certain culture is rude, but
Right.
when you learn their language, a lot of times, like in Chinese, for example, they speak like you go there. Like it's just
Right.
how it's set up.
Yeah.
But in English, you're like, oh, that's so rude. Like, why
Right.
are they just so direct
Please
and
move to the
close?
side.
Yeah,
And they're like-
and they don't care about personal space.
Right.
It's just different instead
And
of
eating is very loud.
you're allowed. It's polite to slurp. You're
Right.
supposed to.
You're like in
slurp
a
in
dining hall,
Chinese,
just
yeah.
like, oh, like this is.
It's just
I can hear that guy like
all
4
the way
tables
over.
eating right now.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, if you're used to like being like, hey, like, chew
Shut it.
quietly, shut it, yeah.
Yeah, but it's cool to learn about that.
Yeah, so
and
if you start seeing it that way, like, oh, that's very polite of that guy to slurp.
Yeah.
Common ways.
and also we were at this
Sounds delicious.
Chinese this guy's house in China with my brother and his thing, and it's if you keep eating, they'll keep refilling your plate because they want to.
Oh,
They
I'd
don't
be in
want to
so much
ever
trouble.
be. They don't want to ever be like not in abundance
Right.
of stuff. It's like rude to show your who you're hosting
Right,
that
right,
you
right.
can't like provide for them.
Oh,
So
that makes a lot of
my
sense.
friends will keep eating, and I'm like, you don't have to eat it all. Like I know.
Right.
For my boyfriend who grew up in Austria, he's like, you finish what's on your plate.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, you don't have to because they'll keep putting food on your plate. You don't
That's so
have
helpful.
to.
That
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. My brother-in-law is full Chinese, and when we go to his house, he's just feeding
Bring
me
it
the
on.
whole time. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
dangerous.
well, it is. If you keep eating it, they're going to keep putting
right.
it on your plate
Got
because
it.
that's polite. But I don't know. I think it's fascinating for
totally.
these cultures, languages, religions, all those.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fun too because I feel like people are so stoked to see that you're like trying. That
yeah.
when me and Ben went to the Norseca, like we would do like 20 minutes of Duolingo in French a day,
Yeah.
and like the cleaning lady like had like such a great time just like laughing at us trying to speak to her in French.
Right.
I feel like
Yeah.
just like when you show the effort, it's like it means a lot.
They enjoy it, and just like if somebody, is hitting their way around English, you're like, well, we probably wouldn't understand them otherwise. But when I talk to Chinese girls, they always want to come in and they're like, "Oh, you sound so good." And I'm like, "No, respond to me in Chinese."
Right, yeah, totally.
Yeah, but it's fun for them too to like
Yeah.
try to speak your language and you try to speak
Yeah,
theirs.
I
Yeah.
think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I need to do it. Damn it, I'm so far behind though. I couldn't even get Spanish down, and
Yeah.
I lived there for like
You live
a
there?
year. I played indoors in Puerto Rico, but also in Puerto Rico, it's like everyone
They speak
speaks
English.
English,
Yeah.
and Puerto Rican Spanish has like every 10th word is English. So
A lot of people
mixing in all these crazy
We'll
words.
do that. Yeah.
It's funny when languages like combine like that too.
Yeah, I was talking. My friend Alex was talking about how he speaks German, but sometimes when he speaks German with somebody else that knows English, they'll just say an English phrase in the middle because it's way faster of getting their point across.
That's funny.
But I'm like, no, I want to hear the whole German phrase. I gotta nail it down the whole way through. But
That's definitely the way to go about playing on the world tour. But I'm still probably not gonna.
not gonna.
Maybe I'll touch up on my Spanish first.
I
That's
can't
funny.
see Trevor picking up multiple languages throughout the year.
No, he's not.
Chris from the USA gym, he's Vietnamese. And so every week I go in with him, he teaches me a Vietnamese
Another word?
phrase.
Oh, that's
yeah.
awesome.
That's a good call.
Yeah. Like,
One at a time. Plus, once you start learning and you learn how to learn, there's like a way to learn languages, right?
yeah, in a way. I wouldn't say I'm like fluent in all these at all.
Right.
I know bits and pieces, but
you can
for
learn
those
a lot faster than us.
for the beginner phrases, I can
Right,
usually get them down decently.
right.
The Asian languages are kind of difficult because they have different tones, but like the way you say something can mean completely different things.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it's
English
complicated.
was my worst subject in school.
I wasn't very good
I
at
feel
it.
so weird
but-
saying that to people that are like, from Europe or something.
Right.
Like, I feel like my language should be like a strong thing for me.
You don't think
You
about your
probably
language,
know my
though.
language better than I do because you were good at English in Germany or whatever,
Yeah.
So they probably learned all like the small things better than me,
Yeah.
which obviously you've mastered.
I don't know about master.
Probably hurts to read my writing.
No, no.
You've had worse.
Much worse.
Oh, great. Thank you.
You're in the upper echelon, believe me.
Wow. Took a while to get there. Trust me. You don't want to read my high school papers.
Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about while we have you here in the studio? Anything we might have missed? Or that you were just dying to bring up while we had you?
Shout outs? Anything?
Shout outs. Oh, shout out my dad, Dan Quiggle.
There you go.
He actually set us up with like this really nice place in Malaysia when we're gonna go over there. So we're gonna be staying in a beautiful house through his connections. He was just over there 2 weeks ago. So we're gonna get a free house the whole time that we're in Malaysia. So
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
pretty nice.
Awesome. Big win.
My whole family is a huge help with all that I do in beach
Travel and all
volleyball. Yeah,
that.
they're like my biggest supporters. So
And your dad travels for work, you're saying, right?
yeah, he travels a lot, so he knows how to travel, and we've been traveling with him too for a while. So I feel like traveling is just something that's very comfortable, which has been a huge help, especially
Does
on
he
the
know a
world
bunch
tour.
of languages as well?
No, he sticks
Wow.
strictly
He
to
must be proud then.
English.
Nice.
Yeah, he makes fun of us, but it's good.
Nice.
Yeah, just
And you have like a crypto sponsorship, right?
yeah,
That's
XYO.
awesome.
Yeah, they're
What
they're
is that?
like
Crypto, like
blockchain.
Bitcoin kind of thing?
Yeah, they're similar to
I don't
that,
really
but
know
they're a
these things.
locations sponsor. So, or
Whoa.
not sponsor. They're a location service where they have you can like geomine where you go. It's really interesting.
Whoa.
It all goes. It's all very. I'm not super. Into that.
Techie
Yeah,
and-
techie. I can't
not
understand.
super-
Well, I
I'm
can't
not a
understand
robot.
exactly
Yeah.
how it works, but they're brilliant people over there.
I'm sure.
But it's perfect for what I do because I travel all over, and
Totally.
they do a lot of locations, which they're looking to like expand that into eventually doing a bunch of crazy things that you can. I don't know if I'm allowed to say.
Sweet.
But yeah, I have great sponsors too. Nagini, it's an athletic rings band, a beer
Oh,
company
those are
from
clutch.
Florida.
Athletic rings like
Yeah.
these?
No, like athletic protective
Like
rings.
Taping, yeah.
Instead of
Oh,
taping
got
your
it.
fingers, it's really,
that's
really
super
nice.
useful.
Yeah, I bring them along everywhere I
I've
go.
been taping my finger for like a month now, and it's really annoying.
I actually
Yeah.
need some of those. I like broke this finger in October. And like every time you practice, like anytime someone tools me, I'm like,
Oh,
God.
it's the worst.
Yeah, and they just came out with one that has two together, so they can keep your fingers together
that's
when
clutch.
Just like
Yeah.
buddy
yeah,
taping.
buddy tape instead of buddy taping them. They're really nice and great people that work for them. And then a beer company in Florida, Coppertail Brewing.
Nice.
And
Booyah.
because I play the ukulele, I have
Put my
a
Pacifico away.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Come on.
Get that out of here.
But a guitar shop, replay guitar
No way.
store in Florida. It's a friend's kind of shop, and when they learned I play the piano, or not piano, but the ukulele, they kind of sent me a ukulele.
Should I go get mine?
You have like the most eclectic mix of sponsors.
You want to
I
send
know,
this
I
off?
really do.
That is great, yeah.
It's fun. I'm trying to think if I have any others. I don't think I have.
Well, if you
Awesome.
want to run and get the uke, we can have a sandcast
Are you up for it?
sign off.
I can
Send
play.
us
It's
off.
been a while, but
Perfect.
just let me warm up a
Well,
little.
Hopefully
to
it's
get to
tuned.
that, I'll ask you our final question.
Yeah.
We ask every guest. So if you had to give one piece of advice to an upcoming beach volleyball player, what would that piece of advice be?
Probably that, you have to love it. It's such a fun sport, and it can take you so many cool places to just enjoy every piece of it. Enjoy being at the beach or wherever you are in the sand, getting every touch that you can get, and even doing the stuff outside like weightlifting and all that stuff. It's such a fun journey to go through. And so just to stay after it. I mean, I think there's an emerging world of beach volleyball. So if you can stay in it and push through and to enjoy every second of it, it's some of the most fun you'll have in your entire life.
And we're about to have some fun.
I ain't got to show everyone these.
And Corinne also.
I will say,
Corinne
Carly
does.
Wopat actually made this.
Oh,
Like,
But
Carly didn't even
I did
bring
ask
cookies
them.
over. We
bring
had her
us
on.
cookies though.
So we have.
I did ask her
take a bite
to
of
bring me
this.
some.
We have.
We're gonna
We have cookies. I already
pass
have
you.
one. And then we have
My
the.
dog has fleas. He's ready.
And then we have the
boy.
ukulele.
Okay, I haven't played in a while. I'm a
So
little
however you want to
nervous.
sign us off here.
I don't know. Wow.
Is it off?
What is?
I said,
No.
is it off tune?
It's been a while. Wow. I'm sorry.
We really put
Can
you
you
on the,
hear
on the
it?
spot.
Yeah, we can hear it.
Okay. Wow. Sorry. I'm sweating.
Oh, there we go.
I'm sorry.
There it is.
I'm sorry.
Booyah.
Okay, you
Booyah.
can cut that.
Well, this has
No,
been
that's great.
Sandcast with Miss Corinne Quiggle. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
coming on.
thank you
and hanging out. It's
guys.
been awesome.
Love it.
Thank you.
Cheats.